Apparently, we are live, live and direct from my warehouse. I've been working since pretty much like 1 o'clock. When I came, it's about 5:42 right now, and it's been a lot of work today, guys. Like literally just going on full work mode. But luckily for me, I was able to, sort out so many stuff, which makes a lot of sense because the idea of this business is for you to constantly, be at your game, constantly refining your processes to make sure that you are kind of prepared for whatever comes. And this is exactly what I have been doing. And it's been very, very successful, very, very productive. And I felt like, okay, it was a time for me now to take a break. And typically, when I want to take a break, one thing I want to do is just to hop on a live stream because I understand that there are a lot of you guys out there, fans of the channel. And that reminds me, I wanted to say something really quick. Guys, I want to appreciate you all because you guys have been supporting this channel, real good. The last two videos I made, I mean, for me, when my videos get 100 views, that's pretty much a video that has blown up, But the last video I made, let me just try to take a look and see how it looks. I'm gonna go there, and yes. So the last two videos I made got about 275 views, and that was kind of interesting for a channel that I've been putting a lot of work to make sure that this channel gets a lot of traction. But one way or the other, the traction has been kind of delayed. It's not like I know it will come. I'm not kind of in doubt. In fact, when I take a look at the figures, you take a look at the hours I put into making these videos and take a look at the figures, which is the view count, it doesn't bother me because I know it's just a function of time. The channel is going to wake up and it's going to get the traction that it needs. But then I want to say a very big thank you because you guys have been supporting the channel. The last two videos, like I said, made about 275 views. I want to imagine that this was because I talked about, Meta's new glasses that just came out. That was I'm taking a look at the title, the new Meta glasses. Kind of, it was a big buzz last 2 weeks. So I felt like it was a trend I needed to capitalize on. And I was just telling you guys how beautiful it might be for you if you're a reseller, that you can actually jump on the trend, especially now that, Apple was yet to still release about, I think, one of the three models that was released. One was still being expected. I think one of them is going to be out in October. So I was like, look, if you have a way of getting these glasses and, I mean, distributing it all across Europe, if you have the possibility to get them for cheap, that might be very, very good because when big companies like this tend to release their product, they tend to do it, in very, very low quantities. And if you are opportune on the day of release to be able to grab that particular product, at the market price for which the item has been released, just because the item is not enough to go around, people are willing to pay a premium just to get that item for you. That was what I talked about, and video did very well. 275 video views, and a lot of you kind of commented, how many likes did the video get? Also got pretty much, I can't really see that now, but you guys commented and I felt kind of good because I saw that, look, if the content resonates with the people are going to comment, they're going to come out of their hiding places and click on the like button and even, subscribe to the channel. That was impressive. Then the next video kind of got 13 views. And then the one I made yesterday or 2 days ago got 58 views. This is kind of, things are kind of changing. I see it. I can feel it that this channel is kind of waking up. The YouTube algorithm is finally saying, look, I think we kind of see that this, Hardware Flipper is doing a lot of things to make sure that people get to see these videos. And it's also speaking to, a group of young men, young women that feel like, look, they want to do something different. They want to see how they can be part of this reselling thing, because truth be said, you can no longer push reselling to the background. Yeah, it's just like, it's what it is. Not so many people tend to know about this business model. There was a time everyone was talking about reselling, and after some time, that trend kind of died down. But the business model itself didn't die, and the business model has been kind of better now, in my opinion. 3-4 years ago, it was like a free for all. Everybody was jumping in. This was the days of drop shipping. When the drop shipping bubble burst, people kind of gave up. People saw that it wasn't a viable business model because it wasn't just practical to, sell items. For the buyers to have to wait for 2 weeks for the items to be delivered, that wasn't going to happen. If there was no competition, that would have been a free for all, but competition made it possible that, look, that business model wasn't going to be sustainable. If people buy your items, they are able to be patient for like 4 days, like let's say 5 days, all right? That's even too long in 2025. In the days of AI, people want to buy your items. I want to receive it the very next day. This is how it has become, all right? I'm playing that game in some of the items that I have, but because of the nature of the things I sell, sometimes, shipping it out the same day might just be a little bit difficult because these pieces have to be cleaned up. They have to be tested. One has to make sure that the pieces are in good working condition. Sometimes, the Windows operating system, the drivers have to be installed. And sometimes there's a lot of drama that goes into this whole processes, all right? I kind of talk about it on this channel. I kind of leave everything, open, pretty much pull back the curtain because a long time ago, I used to be worried about people, see my processes and, trying to do the same. But then after a while, I realized that, look, if you want to be into this game, first of all, you have to love what you are doing because there are just so many things that goes into it that if you do not love what you are doing, you're going to give up at some point. If you are not a hustler, that guy that is determined to make money on the internet, come what may, you might just give up at some point. But when I realized that I am unique, you might know the processes, you might know exactly what I do, how I pack the pieces, how I set them up. But if you do not have that kind of mindset that I have, that same kind of, life conditions, there's just no way you'll be able to replicate my own process. Of course, you'll be able to build a process that works well for you because at the end of the day, this whole business thing, setting up a business, being successful even in business has a lot to do with even your personal life, what's going on in your personal life. What kind of family units do you have? Are you married with kids? Do you have a wife that works? How old are your kids? I tend to say this a lot on this channel. Do you have a mini job or a part-time job on the side? Do you have a full-time job? And where do you live? What's the location? What kind of pieces do people want? How are you able to get stuff? Man, there are a lot of, intricacies that goes on in trying to do this business. But one thing I do try to, achieve is to give you, a very good information point where you can actually, go do your own. You take the information, mix it or put a spin on it the way that works best for you. Because if you can do that, you are going to actually, be successful in a very, very short time. A lot of the things that I do, I kind of taught myself, of course, give and take. I checked a lot of people also, doing almost the same thing on the internet. But the problem was that I wasn't really seeing people selling really hardcore electronics. But these days, in the last few days, I'm checking on YouTube, I see that there are some group of, very good, I would call them correct hustlers. They deal on electronics, and they are kind of also bringing it to the fore, like showing you guys what they do. And guys, some of them, there's one particular one, I'm not so sure if I can remember the channel name, but if I do remember the channel name, I will try to put it on the chat. This guy is prolific, very, very prolific, because I see what he's doing. He's gotten about 2 or 3, warehouses, working alone and killing it. Of course, I understand that if you want to pull this off, you have to have a very solid supplier base, but I'm not looking at the fact that someone has a lot of, suppliers to bankroll or fund your business. But the thing is, if you take a look at the work ethics of this young man, it is just simply amazing. I can tell, somebody, a young man that is very, very versatile, somebody that is ready to succeed. I can tell when I see one. This guy doesn't bullshit around, doesn't try to, say things that will make you happy. Or it just tells you, look, there's a lot of work that needs to be put in. And he is doing the work. You can tell that he's full 100% locked in on his business. And this is impressive. When I see people like that, I just want to commend them and praise their efforts to be able to scale the business to where the business is right now. So back to, base. Guys, I thank you all for supporting the channel. If you are there right now, you are not subscribed to the channel, even on this live stream, please try and, be subscribed. And you know what we do on the channel? We click on the like button, we share the stream if we can, and we also ask questions. I don't seem to know why, my chat window is not displaying. I wouldn't know if somebody is online, but I'll just try to log on here on the side panel. Let's see if we can do that, so that at least we can actually all right, I need to verify something. But normally I should have the chat on the side, but I don't know. I don't seem to see anyone. Oh, okay. Now I'm logged in. Oh, the problem was that I wasn't logged in. But right now I'm logged in, and now, hello everyone. I'm just going to write something. Everyone is flipping pieces for profit. Ask me anything. All right, guys. You know what we do on this channel. Whenever we have a live stream, we ask questions. If there's anything that you want to know about, anything, any aspect of flipping stuff on the internet, maybe on eBay, maybe on your website, go ahead, drop me a comment, drop me a question. Now I'm online. I don't know for how long I'll be here, but I want to imagine like 40 minutes should be fair enough, because yes, I still have a lot of stuff to do. I still have to check some few stuff. I still have to do some paperwork, and these are the things I'm going to be doing behind the scenes. These are not things I can actually do while live streaming, but whenever I want to chill out, I want to unwind, I want to put on the camera and just speak to that one person that might be online. Today, we didn't make any videos because they were just on demanding things I needed to pay attention to. Tomorrow, possibly, I should be able to make a video, but if not, we are just going to be back again on Monday or on Sunday, when everything will be chill, because Sunday is one very chill day. I don't have to ship out anything. I don't have to be worried about, customers' requests or answering emails. I like to make my coffee sessions on a Sunday, so you might want to watch out for that. Once again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please, I want to encourage you to be subscribed. We share a lot of, behind the scenes here of flipping pieces for profit. And when I say pieces, it cuts across everything. It could be iPads, it could be laptops, it could be desktop pieces itself, small form factor pieces, mini pieces, tower pieces. It's kind of a lot, and we do a lot of hardcore, packaging on this channel. I will give you a lot of insight. If you decide to flip pieces for profit, what you need to look out for, because the biggest problem you might be having is trying to get your items across to the buyer. That might be the biggest challenge. And on this channel, I break down everything, show you exactly how you can do the same. I tell you a little bit of, sourcing. There's no hard and fast rules about sourcing. All you have to do is to look for where a PC is being sold for cheap and try to bring it on a platform like eBay and try to sell it for more expensive price. Of course, expensive price is going to be relative. You have to also check what the competition is selling so that you do not outprice yourself. And, looking for PCs to buy, you can actually do it everywhere. You can do it online, offline, door to door. The only problem is that a lot of people are not willing, to put in this work that this thing deserves. I've been putting in this work since like 10 years. So some of the things that you might see me do, they might be a little bit, they might appear a little bit very easy, but honestly, there's a lot that goes on behind the scene. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of, the times where things are not really moving the way it should. And there are also times where things are moving in the best way. And right now, one of the times where I can say that, look, eBay is doing its job. All right. Please pardon me. I'm looking at the screen here, which is my monitor, hoping that I get somebody to chat me up, and so that we can kind of pick it up from there. And somewhere I'm looking at the camera, and somewhere on the side, the camera display is also there. So I don't know which to focus on, but I think the best thing to do is to, turn off the camera display so that I'm not looking at the camera display thinking I'm looking at the camera, and everything just kind of seems a little bit off. So I'm going to take this out, which is the camera display is off now, so that each time I take a look at this direction, I know I'm actually focusing on you guys, because I want to talk to you guys. And each time I take a look at this position, I know I am actually taking a look at my monitor. Guys, I was saying that eBay is doing its own part of the bargain. You see, the most, I don't want to call it annoying thing, it takes two to actually tango, if you know what that means. As the saying goes, it takes two people to actually make it happen. We on the one side, we are the resellers, and eBay on the other side owns the platform. All right. And if the resellers are doing their work, making sure that they have very good items, they go out in the trenches, come rain, come shine, they are out there looking for items to buy. They are the ones doing the research, developing the offers, posting it on the platform. And eBay, of course, they are also doing a lot behind the scene. They are the ones making sure that the payment is processed the way it should, making sure that buyers and sellers are protected, making sure that the offers are seen, sending our offers all over social media. I take a look at TikTok, I see eBay there. I take a look at YouTube, I see eBay there. Instagram, Facebook, they are making a lot of adverts just to make sure that you and I get seen. And that's a lot. And when things are working properly, which is eBay is doing the outside of the deal, and the sellers on the other side, they are doing the other side of the deal. Man, guys, it's a beautiful place to be. Nothing is broken. eBay system is not broken. You post an offer today. As soon as the items gets indexed, you see people already taking a look at the offer, clicking on the heart, or you call it the favorite, or whatever you want to call it, kind of liking it. Permit me to use that word. Showing interest, interacting with the offer. You can actually see that, okay, the item was posted, and then you can see that people are, taking a look at it. I posted a complete PC a few days ago, and in 24 hours, I got about 52 visitors to that offer, and 3 people actually, marked that item, which was very, I keep missing this word, they watch that item, because we are so used to social media that we tend to say like, on eBay Street, or on the eBay Street, when people click to kind of, it's called to mark your item. It's called that people are watching. You have watchers, people watching your offers. All right. About 52 people clicked on the offer, and 3 of them actually did watch it, which is very, very good. When things are not working properly, you post an item, or you post a PC or an offer. Sometimes it takes about 48 hours for the items to be indexed. And even after being indexed, 4 days later, you're still getting like 1 or 2 views, even when you are sure that what you posted is supposed to be a very, very good item. Guys, this is not the case. Right now, I can say that I am balling. All right. Thanks to eBay just doing its job. All right. From my own side, I'm doing my job. I'm not saying that I'm really, really perfect, because sometimes I still default in the number of days. I have to ship out the item, because typically I tend to, leave, give on all my offers between 1 and 2 days, handling time, depending on the kind of work I have. Right now, my shop is on holiday mode, because I saw that the weekend was already getting, junked up for good, not for bad. But I felt like if I do not put a natural break, which is like setting the holiday mode up till Monday afternoon, I might have a situation where on Monday and Tuesday, I will be so full. But then I also got some other things to do. There are family commitments here and there. It is what it is. Sometimes, you have to make allowance for all these things that you would love to do. I'm taking a look at my other account now. Okay, I see the notification. It says Hardware Flipper is live, just to be sure that people can actually see that we are live. We do not have anybody watching right now, or joining us on the live stream, but if you are there, all right, we have 7 views. I think people are kind of watching though. Let's see. I'm going to make the announcement again. If you are right there now watching on the stream, you can go ahead and click on the like button, ask me a question, or kind of interact with the stream. Let me know where you're watching from. Tell me your name. Are you a reseller? What are the classical problems that might be holding you back? If there are some I can address, definitely I'll go ahead and address it. But in the absence of that, like I said, it's not going to be a super long stream. So if you have anything to say or ask me, this might be the best time, to do it. The stream is excellent according to YouTube Studio. Everything is green. Audio is live. So I do not think I'm not being heard wherever I am right now. In any case, we are going to, do what we have to do. All right. Just give me 1 minute. I need to actually share this with someone. And then we are ready to roll. There's still something I need to figure out on my streams. Sometimes I would like to play some music, but I do not know how that works yet. And in the day and age where copyright is a thing on YouTube, one needs to be very careful. But I feel like there should be a way to actually start a Q&A, start a poll. I do not want that. Just wanted to see if I could, include select stream, refresh page, sign out. I still need to check how that is done. But I think if I'm streaming directly from YouTube Studios on my laptop or on my phone, I should be able to, actually do that. But right now, I'm streaming with OBS and I'm doing it with my camera, and I do not have my phone here. And yes, it's what it is. I'm still going to figure that out. If you know how I can add music to this stream, guys, please let me know. But that's not the intention right now. See, the last time we stopped on the items that sold, I wouldn't remember where. If I would go back, where I think we covered this iPad, we covered this one up to, but I think we stopped at this Fujitsu Esprimo D756. That was where we stopped. All right, and this was a PC that sold for 245 euros. PC has since been shipped out and has since been delivered on the 25th, today is 26th. So the buyer received it. And beautiful thing now, I'm just taking a look. I see that the buyer did give me, a positive review, which that is kind of good. I'm just going to try to read it. Buyer said the article is as described and the shipping was very quick. That's beautiful when you get, this kind of feedback, because this is the only way I can know if a buyer is satisfied. This buyer has said now that the item is as described, because if a buyer is not dissatisfied, if a buyer is, man, I'm just kind of, I think I need to drink some water, guys. Give me 1 minute. All right, this is what happens when you're a little bit tired, but it doesn't matter. We're going to push through it. If a buyer is satisfied, the first thing they want to do is to look for your offer, see how they can give you a review. And if a buyer goes ahead to write that, look, the item is as described, that's a major indicator that the buyer is very satisfied. And in terms of shipping, the buyer also did confirm that the item arrived on time. See, that is something sometimes we do not have, 100% control of how soon the items are delivered. But this particular item, it was brought to the post office pretty early at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. And the postal driver, in this case DHL, tends to leave at about 5 o'clock. I have also noticed that when the items are taken on the same day, there is a 98% chance that the item will be delivered. And this is exactly what happened in this case. And possibly this buyer was just kind of impressed, went ahead, just 1 day later to confirm that, look, the pieces as described and the item got delivered very quick. That's beautiful. It's kind of an encouragement for me. And when it happens like this, I am very optimistic that if this particular buyer, will ever have to come back to eBay in search of a PC or a monitor, the first thing they want to do, try to take a look at where they bought their PC and see if they can get a very good offer. But the other way around is if the buyer is not satisfied, if for one reason or the other, the buyer gets happy. First of all, of course, they're going to return your PC back to you. But if they ever come back to eBay, they're not going to be thinking of your shop. That's why sometimes you have to think about the long game, because my experience on this platform, I know that really, decision makers of big organizations, they also tend to look at eBay sometimes, because right now, a lot of companies are passing through, budget crisis. There's no money to really buy a lot of new stuff anymore. So people are looking in the direction of buying, used stuff. And whenever people think about buying used PCs, first thing they want to think about, what is available on eBay, and when they can find what they're looking for, definitely they are going to deal. And sometimes they deal in phases. They go ahead, they buy one PC, they want to see how the item is going to be delivered, and if the job is done right, they're going to come back again. Boom, this time around they can order like 5 pieces, 10 pieces. Everything is possible. So guys, do not think that the transaction is just a little transaction. You do not have to put in all your effort. Do what you have to do to ensure that the item, in this case a PC or whatever you sell, gets shipped out on time. Is as described. Do your best. Don't be lazy about that. Do your best to ensure that you are describing your item the way it is. You might just be grateful for it later on. Guys, if you are watching, let me know where you are watching from. Give us a like and let's get this stream, let's get it going. Let's communicate. Let's share ideas. Let's interact. And that's the idea. So the next PC that I sold was a Lenovo ThinkCentre M700, one of my best all-time selling PCs. If you can ever find this PC and you want to deal, please go ahead and deal on it. This is a good PC and people tend to buy it all the time because this is one PC. It's very cute, very versatile, very smart, not so big, not so small. It gives you the possibility to put in a graphic card here, and when that is the case, you can actually do a lot of light gaming on this PC. Of course, not heavy gaming, but you want to play a game here and there. There are a lot of 2 GB of DDR5 low profile graphic card that you can actually use for this PC. And this is what makes it very, very interesting, and people kind of want to have it whenever they find it. And we also got this Samsung 128 GB of NVMe SSD selling. Sorry, I didn't say how much this M700 sold for. It sold for 276 euros and 9 cents. I'm kind of putting my face, my image just on this side, on the kind of blocking the data of the buyers, because this is not what I want to share with the public. Right, guys? Something just sold. That is a Fujitsu Esprimo. I don't know if you can see that. Boom, right there for 337 euros. 337 euros 73 cents. This is what we're talking about. When eBay is doing their own side of the deal, things just work normally because this whole business has been set up. We've got costs, we've got payments to make every 30 days. All right, we've got the warehouse costs, we've got electricity bills, we've got cost of fuel, we've got the cost of all these things, these cameras, this lighting. These are all expenses that need to be paid for. And not only that, I also have to be paid. I've got family to feed, I've got kids. This is what it is. If things are working, I don't have a problem going out to look for items. I don't have a problem even going to the places that 99% of people would not like to go to, writing those emails, reaching out to people and asking them, do you have a PC for me? I want to buy this PC. This is the amount I want to buy it. And if you give me the chance, I can actually make it possible that we have a very good relationship first, bringing your PC to the market, selling them at a very good price. And I can tell you that, look, I know this game. I can become a repeat customer of yours. Those cool ways that suppliers want to see. They want to see a person that is kind of motivated, not just looking for a one-off deal. And sometimes, guys, I receive really bad computers, like computers in not the best conditions, but then you do not complain to the suppliers, especially when they have actually been making things happen for a very, very long time. There are people, something is bought, something doesn't work, they want to go back, complain for every little thing. Sometimes I buy pieces from my suppliers. For some reason or the other, there's not, something is missing. Something is supposed to be there that is not there. Perhaps the SSD is not 256 gigabyte that was like it was advertised. It turns out to be 128 gigabytes of SSD. I'm not going to begin to call them and begin to complain. Hey guys, the SSD you sent me is not as it was described. Is there a way I can return it? No, we don't do that. You take it, you chew it, you move on. And then gradually you build this relationship with the suppliers. Some laptops I got some few months ago, about 60 pieces of the laptop. I didn't have to pay for it. I just said to the guy, give it to me. I'm bringing it to eBay and let's see how we can sell it. This guy said, you can have them. This was coming from a place of deep trust. All right. This doesn't happen. Of course, it won't happen if you are just getting to know the supplier just first time, but because it was somebody that I have been dealing with all through the years, through thick and thin, when 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 I was a nobody, when eBay wasn't working, when things were down, I was there with these guys. And then now that things are a little bit better, it's always easier to get this kind of line of let's just say credits. You get the items, you sell them, and then you return money, and things just keep moving. But then this is a beautiful transaction, 337 euros, 73 cents. I feel like by now it should have been loaded on my eBay. I'm just going to refresh the page and see if eBay has already updated. And let's take a look. Yes, that's the PC right there. All right. It's a small form factor PC, but we're going to get to that. Let's continue. So this SSD right here, like I told you guys, sold for 14 euro and 90 cents. And then this was a one very good transaction. Since we delivered Lenovo ThinkCentre P330. I did make a lot of videos with this PC on my main channel. In case you do not know, I also have a main channel, the hardware, money channel, where I do a lot of stuff like upgrading these PCs, troubleshooting them, showing you guys the behind the scenes, giving you guys general advice if you are looking for a budget-friendly PC. That's what I do there. But then I did make a lot of videos there, and right here, I can't seem to see my mouse on this OBS. Anyhow, I hope you guys can see it. I can't see my mouse. Anyway. And then the next thing that sold was this Intel G5600 CPU. I don't know. I think I talked about this already, but it doesn't matter. This sold for 18.90 euro. And the next item that sold, but then the buyer did cancel the transaction. I don't know why it's still here. I'm just going to go ahead and archive it very soon. So luckily for me, I didn't have to ship it out, and the buyer came around, canceled it. So it is. If I had already shipped it, then it would have been a little bit of a drama, but since it wasn't shipped, wasn't a problem. I'm just going to go ahead, archive it so that doesn't, appear there no more. All right. The next item that sold was a very decent Lenovo ThinkCentre M920Q. This is one, now I can see my mouse. This is one beautiful PC that has been around for quite a while. But the good thing is that this PC right now is beginning to sell again. In a few weeks, if you do not know, Microsoft is going to stop security updates to Windows 10. So if you are still using Windows 10, especially the 6th gen Intel Core i5 or Core i7 processors, you might be having a problem. Of course, there's a workaround, for you to be able to install Windows 11 on these older processors. But the problem is you will not be getting official Microsoft support to those PCs. You won't be able to get the security updates that you tend to get. Sometimes you switch on your PC and you see the PC is telling you searching for updates, installing updates and stuff like that. If you use an unsupported CPU, you install Windows 11 on it, you won't be able to get that. But the thing is, Windows is saying from the Intel 8th gen Core i7, Core i3, or even Core i5 processors, you are able to run Windows 11 without having to cut corners. And because of that, you get all the security updates that you need. So for one reason or the other, people are beginning to realize that, and they want to begin to change their systems. Is it a good thing that Microsoft can, with one singular decision, determine if you're going to upgrade your PC or not? I don't know, but this is what it is. People are beginning to gradually upgrade their PCs, buying PCs that will enable them install Windows 11, and this is what is going on now. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming days, we're not going to be seeing a very, very large demand for PCs, especially the used PCs, because I keep talking about it. People's budget are not so big to spend on these hardwares. Gone are the days where people can just easily bring out 1,500 euros or $1,500 and just splash on a PC. But right now, people are so careful where they spend their money. A lot of people are already indebted, mortgages here and there, car loans. A lot of stuff going on in people's life. People are losing their jobs. People are not so sure what the future holds in terms of jobs. So they are very careful how they spend their money. But the beautiful thing about this category, which I sell, is you can never be so careful not to spend money on a computer. If your PC is broken, you are going to buy a new one. Your PC is pretty much like your car, or your car tires. If it's broken, there's nothing like I don't think I have money. I don't want to have a PC anymore. I'm just fine with my phone. Of course, there's your phone can only go so long, all right, or so far. You can't actually use your phone for everything. Of course, I know there are people that are kind of phone addicts. They're able to use their phone for everything, editing YouTube videos, making YouTube videos, posting on eBay. If you want to really waste your time, the one good way to waste your time is to try to post eBay offers on your phone. Of course, I know people do this, but I still find it hard to wrap my head around the fact that this is even possible. I never ever listed any item on my phone because I just don't know where to start. I list using a listing template and the CSV file thing, and it just doesn't work on the phone. So if your PC is broken, even if you don't have money, I feel like you're going to borrow money to buy another one. And because people are not so sure, what the future holds, they want to be careful how they spend money. And one way you can be careful how you spend money is to buy used as opposed to buying new. Because this PC right here, with this configuration that the buyer bought, paid 446 euros. On the front end, it looks kind of expensive when you think about the fact that somebody did pay 446 euros, buying a PC like this. What could be inside? But if you attempt to buy this PC with this same configuration for new, you are going to be thinking about 1,700 euros, even sometimes 2,000 euros. Let's say on the low end, 1,000 euros or 1,200 euros. That's a lot of savings. If you have to pay, or if you had to pay 446 euros, buying something that you could have easily paid 1,200 euros for, that's something worth considering. So this Lenovo M920Q sold for 292 euros, 45 cents. I don't have this kind of motivation to always, quote the cent figures. So most times I just want to pick the first, 100 digits, which is 292, and that's all. But if I have, the power, I can then go ahead to tell you the cent that's behind it. But then there was one beautiful PC that also sold. This white PC here is a Fujitsu Exprimo Q558. I also made a video about it in my other channel, the Hardware Money channel. This is one PC that I listed, and I said to myself, I don't know who is that one person that's going to buy a white PC, because these desktop PCs is not typical for you to have, desktop PCs in the color white. It's just not typical, all right? Guys, when I see people streaming for 3 hours, I don't know how they do it, because if I talk for 5 minutes, my throat is already hurting, all right? So this is why, one of the reasons why I can't seem to sustain that long stream, like 1 hour, 2 hour streams, except the people do not really say a lot, because I know I kind of talk a lot, try to cover a lot of stuff, but if I have the possibility to drink water, please pardon me, I'm just going to drink water, all right? So I was saying that the typical color for a desktop PC, doesn't matter if it's a mini PC or a small form factor PC or even a tower PC like you have right here, is typically black or dark gray. When I listed this PC all white, I was like, I don't know if there's gonna be that one person crazy enough, to buy a white PC. And luckily for me, the person came around. This is the power of eBay. eBay was able to look for that one crazy person somewhere. I mean, not crazy in terms in a negative sense, but in a positive sense. That one person was able to, come around, click on this offer, the Fujitsu Exprimo Q558 white PC, and went ahead and bought it. I want to imagine that this might be somebody that has, just this likeness for white, like the office color is white, the walls are painted white, the table is white, perhaps he has a white monitor, went ahead, bought it, paid 304 euros, once again 39 cents. That's a decent transaction. 309 euros, or sorry, 304 euros 39 cents for this PC right here. That's a beautiful one. This is one solid PC, solid processor, Intel Core i5 9th generation. Was a decent transaction. I was impressed. The Dell Precision 3420 also sold for 281 euros. This PC right here hasn't been shipped out. I still have to take a look at it because it's weekends and I have to ship this PC until the 30th of September. So there's actually no reason for me to be, you know, super in a hurry right now, but it is what it is. I still have to take a look at that, see what I can do with this tomorrow being Saturday, because I will have time. And if I do not have time to sort out all what I have to do, I'm still going to be here on Sunday, and then we can actually do that. So the Fujitsu Esprimo P720, you know, from what you can already realize, eBay has actually been, you know, showing a lot of goodness to my shop. All right. Of course, I also know from my own side, I also did a lot of work in setting up these offers, you know, making sure that these items are ready to go. You know, I'm talking about, you know, buying, people coming to your shop, buying items, and then they're going to be waiting forever to receive their items. Not only that, these items are in the best conditions. Like, this is one of the mission statements I have, to make sure that, look, I give items that are in the best conditions to whoever finally comes to my shop to buy items. And I'm kind of delivering on that promise, making sure that my items, I clean them. You know, guys, I know what I'm talking about when I talk about there are buyers or there are sellers on eBay that do not care about quality. You know, they are only concerned about being in this game of buying and selling. But I want to attract decent buyers, you know, buyers of repute, organizations, you know, decision makers, responsible people, doctors, engineers. These are the kind of people that I daily want to attract on my eBay shop. And one way I can actually do that is just to make sure that, look, I present the best item that's possible in the used market in a way that the item looks pretty much new. And this is exactly what you do when you want to flip pieces for profit. Every other way of flipping pieces, I do not know about that. Or even if I know about that, I do not subscribe to that, because if you flip pieces that are not good enough technically, optically, you are not setting up yourself for success. And ultimately, you are not going to be able to flip pieces for profit. I am flipping pieces for profit until I'm able to buy a house. You want to do this by focusing your effort, getting the best pieces that are possible in the best possible conditions. And when the pieces sells, doing your best to ensure that the pieces, you know, are delivered well on time in the best conditions as possible. So this Fujitsu Esprimo P720 sold for 240 euros, 9 cents, decent transaction, you know, beautiful finishing. If I want to use the words of football fans, but then it's also not been shipped out. We still have time to do this. A long time ago, I used to want to surprise my buyers by just shipping out the items today. I had the option of shipping out this PC today, but I didn't do it because sometimes for expensive transaction like this, I kind of realized that it's just best to allow the item to sit at least overnight before shipping it out, because when people buy these items, sometimes you cannot remove the fact that buyer remorse might set in. And if you do not know what that means somebody goes to your shop, buys an item, and then realizes that, maybe I didn't really check the price very well before committing to this particular transaction. And sometimes they go back to actually take a look to see if there are ways they can actually get a better deal. And sometimes when they find a better deal, they are going to cancel the transaction. So if you are too much in a hurry, trying to ship out your items so quickly, you might, you know, fall victim of this kind of, you know, buyers that suddenly become remorseful because they bought a PC and realized that they wanted to really check if that was the best transaction or the best offer they could get. So this is the reason why you see that these pieces are still hanging here. Even though I have everything now to ship them out, I still have to wait up till next week. Today, typically, I needed to ship them out today, but today being Friday, there is no reason for me to be in a super hurry. On Monday, I'm going to be back again. And these buyers also, if they are kind of serious buyers, which I believe they are, they do not expect their PCs, you know, to be bought on a Friday afternoon and then get it on Saturday, because they understand that these things, eBay sellers also pretty much are becoming like standard businesses, you know, which has a closing time, they have an opening time, and nobody expects that your item be shipped out or his or her item be shipped out on Saturday. So this gives us 2 days of rest, gives us, you know, long enough time for the buyers to actually think about this transaction. And if on Monday they have not been cancelled, we are going to go ahead and make sure they fly. Guys, this was the last one. a Fujitsu Exprimo D757 selling for 337 euros 73 cents. Beautiful transaction. Also beautiful, you know, stuff like solid hardware, good condition. This is something that the people need. Private individuals need them, organizations need them, you know, schools needs them, businesses, just pretty much everybody needs pieces like this. They are versatile, they are smart, they are solid, configuration is top notch. This is something that you want to concentrate your effort in if you want to flip pieces for profit. Guys, we're going to be leaving it here because this Fujitsu PC that I've sold now, I have to take a look at the transaction and make sure that everything is what it should be, so that on Monday we're not going to be having any challenges. And me taking a look at the PC would mean, now that I have time, you know, I could decide to stay here on this live stream, but since you guys are not asking me any question right now, I have to go ahead, bring out the PC, take a look at it, clean it up, test it one more time, and make sure that the PC is ready to go. So guys, we're going to be leaving it here. It's already like 45 minutes, which is kind of good enough. Everything was just done spontaneously. This is the direction I want to take this channel to, because the days of scripting my videos, man, these were days of pain, you know. It was so hard to make a YouTube video and everything was just so clumsy. If I went out of my script, I was thinking maybe it wasn't good enough, you know, but I realized that, look, on scripting your videos or just coming out, talking to your people the way you are, the way you see things is the best and was the best direction. And that was the best singular decision I did make, you know, about a few months ago. And ever since, I am so grateful to have you guys stopping by on my channel, you know, sometimes interacting with it. If you're going to be watching this, you know, on replay, please, I ask, do me a favor, write on the comment section if you ever have any questions that you want me to reply to. Go ahead and drop it there. And if you have found some value in this video, please go ahead and click on the like button. And if you will say to yourself, I want to get more, you know, of this kind of content, especially the kind of, you know, point and shoot videos I make from Hardware Flipper, then you want to consider subscribing to the channel. And not only that, you also want to consider turning on your notification bell so that you are informed next time I drop a similar video like this, or next time I go live on YouTube. Guys, until I see you again in the next live stream, peace.